Judge, I had to hook to my personal hotspot. I just can't get the Fort Bend County Wi-Fi to work on my laptop for some reason.
Okay.
So
Um,
hopefully it stays.
okay. Well, we'll work through it today. Yes.
Not I may have to join you.
That's fine. Do what we have to do. Get through the docket. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, on the record, 24 CPR 040632, state of Teresita Rojales Villanueva. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Okay. You can lower your hand. Mr. Holland, you may take it up from here.
Thank you, Judge. Would you state your name for the court, please?
J. Vincent Villanueva.
And you are the applicant here, correct?
Yes.
We're here today to probate the last will and testament of Teresita Rojales Villanueva. Is that correct?
Yes.
What was your relationship to her?
Their son.
Okay. Is it your testimony that your mom died on or about February the 12th of this year in Sugar Land, Texas at the age of 76?
Yes.
And is it your testimony that this court has jurisdiction and venue because your mom had a fixed place of residence in Fort Bend County? Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And she owned personal property that was valued in excess of $10,000. Is that right?
Yes.
And she left a will that was dated June 17th, 2020. And is that right?
Yes.
And that will was never revoked, was it?
It was not.
Okay. And if you'll look at the screen, the court now is showing you, do you recognize this to be your mom's will?
Yes.
And on the last page, there we go. Do you recognize that to be your mom's signature?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Judge will ask the court to take judicial notice that the court has the original will in its possession.
The court shall take judicial notice.
Mr. Villanueva, is it your testimony that your mom didn't have any children born or adopted after the date she signed this will? Is that right?
Yes.
Now, on the date that she died, she was married to your dad, and she had 4 adult children still living. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is it your testimony that neither the state of Texas nor any governmental agency or charitable organization is named as a beneficiary in the will?
Yes.
And in the will, your mom named you to serve as her first choice as executor without bond. Is that right?
Yes.
You have agreed to do so. Is that right?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you would be disqualified from serving?
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
Have you ever been found to be mentally incompetent?
No.
And it's your testimony that this is not a taxable estate. Is that right?
Yes.
And so we're asking the court to admit this will to probate, waive appraisers, and issue letters testamentary. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, the court heard the testimony of J. Vincent Rojales Villanueva. He testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will to probate and to appoint Mr. Villanueva as independent executor to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
All right, you're free to go, Mr. Holland.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Your Honor.
You're free to go. Ms. Roat, is your client with you?
No, I will be giving the testimony. I prepared the will.
Okay. All right, we're on the record in 24 CPR 040914, state of J. Scott Gersh. If you raise your right hand to be sworn by the court, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
You may proceed.
My name is Elizabeth Rowett. I am the attorney for the applicant Judith Lynn Gersh. I knew the decedent J. Scott Gersh and prepared the will that has been submitted for probate in this case. The decedent died on April 12th, 2024 at the age of 65 years. He was a resident of Fort Bend County, Texas at the time of his death. I recognize the will dated October 16th, 2018 that has been filed for probate in this case as the decedent's last will and testament, and I would ask the court to take judicial notice of the original will in its file.
Court shall take judicial notice.
Thank you, Your Honor. To the best of my knowledge, the decedent never revoked the will. After the date of the will, the decedent did not have a marriage dissolved. After the date of the will, the decedent did not adopt or have born to him any children. The will does not name a state agency, or charity as a beneficiary. There is a need to administer this estate. The will appoints Judith Lynn Gersh to serve without bond as independent executrix. She has not been convicted of a felony or otherwise disqualified to serve as executrix. I ask the court to admit the will to probate, appoint Judith Lynn Gersh to serve as independent executrix without bond, and waive the appointment of appraisers.
All right, the court heard the testimony of Elizabeth Rowett. She testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will to probate and appoint Miss Judith Lynn Gersh as independent executrix to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning. Is that your client with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040699, state of Catherine E. Rothy. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good. You may proceed, Mr. Engelhoff.
All right, thank you. You said your name for the court?
Carrie Jane Fountain.
Okay, and how are you related to Catherine Roth?
I was her only daughter.
Okay. Now, Miss Roth passed away on or about March 20th, 2024 in Missouri City, Fort Bend County, Texas.
That's correct.
Okay. And she was 75 years old and resided in Fort Bend County, Texas when she passed.
Correct.
Okay. Now, your mom had left a will that we've submitted to the court. And on that will, it's dated March 18th, 2013. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And Judge, we ask you to take judicial notice of the original down in the court's file.
The court shall take judicial notice.
Thank you. Now, on this will that your mom had signed, had she ever revoked it?
No, she hadn't.
Okay. Any children born or adopted by her after the date of the will?
No.
Did she have a marriage dissolve after the date of the will?
No.
Okay. Did she, was it been longer than 4 years since she passed when we filed our application?
No.
And is the state of Texas, screen sharing. And that's her will right there, correct?
That is correct.
And that's her signature on page 7. There it is.
There it is. That's
Okay.
it. Yes, that's
And
it.
her signature's on page 8 too, correct?
Correct.
All right. And state of Texas or a charity, a devisee under this will?
No.
Okay. And the time of your mom's passing, she had property in excess of 50,000 here in Fort Bend County.
She did.
And isn't it true that a necessity does exist for the administration of her estate?
Yes, it is.
And the will names you, Carrie Jane Richards, who is the same as Carrie Jane Fountain. You just married and changed your name, correct?
That is correct.
As the independent executor, correct?
Correct.
And you're not disqualified from serving that role. You're not convicted of a felony or any bad moral character, are you?
No, I'm not.
Judge, we ask the will be admitted into probate, that Carrie Jane Fountain be appointed as independent executrix, and appraisers and bond be waived, please.
All right, the court heard the testimony of Carrie Jane Fountain. She testified as to the proof of death, floating the will, and other facts. Court will admit the will into probate and appoint Ms. Fountain as independent executrix to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. I'm very sorry for your loss, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Judge.
It's no.
Your Honor, I apologize for the delay. I didn't realize I needed to accept the recording.
Oh,
However, we have a problem. I have Robert Saucedo, but I have a second witness who doesn't appear to be here. His name is Ed Carney.
correct. He is not in the waiting room, and so I was hoping you would have an idea of where he might be.
We will
Judge.
contact him immediately. We had trouble getting Mr. Saucedo on, but I thought Mr. Carney was already on. Could you come back to us while we try to solve that problem?
I can.
Thank you
Judge,
very much.
I'm on via my iPhone. My iPad would not work, and I tried logging on multiple times, and I finally gave up, and I tried on the iPhone, and now the iPhone's working. So, go figure. I'm sorry. I tried everything I could. Zoom's been working like a charm for years, and now all of a sudden,
It's all right, Mr. Salcedo. It's not going to be a problem. We're going to have to wait for a few minutes. We're waiting on the other witness to arrive. So I'm going to move on to the next case, and I'll come right back to you.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much, Your Honor.
Mr. Atwood, are you there? Mr. Atwood, are you there? We'll come back to Mr. Atwood.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you.
I just have one witness with me today, and that is the applicant.
Yeah. Mr. Mathai, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, very good. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040726, the state of Anthunagal P. Mathai, also known as Anthunagal Mathai. All those who intend to testify, if you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony provided here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Very good. Ms. Cortez, you may take it from here.
Thank you. I would like to call my first witness, Mr. Matai. Can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, first name is Biju, last name is, or middle name is Atango, last name is Mathai.
Thank you. And what was your relationship to the decedent, Athungal P. Mathai, aka Athungal Mathai?
He was my father.
And the decedent passed away on February 16th, 2024 in Harris County, Texas at the age of 89. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And he was a resident of this county, Fort Bend County. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the will that was filed in this case?
Yes, I am.
The will is dated July 4th, 2014. Is that correct?
Yes.
It is your testimony that the will filed in this case is the decedent's original will. Is that correct?
Yes.
4 years have not elapsed since the date of the decedent's death. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Looking at the screen and from reviewing the will previously, do you recognize the signature on page 3 and 5 of this document as being the decedent's signature?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge and belief, this document is the decedent's last will and testament, and it was never revoked?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I ask the court to take judicial notice of the document on file as the original will.
The court shall take judicial notice.
Thank you. The will names Anima C. Matai to serve as executor and you to serve as successor executor to act without bond or other security.
Yes,
Anima C. Matai has signed a waiver and consent to probate the will as a muniment of title only. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Are you familiar with the decedent's family and living arrangements prior to death?
Yes,
No child or children were born to or adopted by the decedent after the making of the will. Is that correct?
that's correct.
No marriage was terminated after the date the will was executed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The decedent did not have any unpaid debts. Is that right?
That's correct.
To the best of your knowledge and belief, the decedent did not apply for or receive Medicaid benefits on or after March 1st, 2005.
Correct.
It is your belief that there is no need for a formal administration of this estate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You have filed an application to probate the decedent's will and are asking the court to admit the will to probate as a muniment of title only. Is that right?
Yes,
Thank you. I have no further questions, and I ask the court to admit the will to probate as a muniment of title only.
All right, the court heard the testimony of Bijou Antogal Mathai, who testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will to probate as a muniment of title, and I will not waive the affidavit of fulfillment of terms in this case. Mr. Mathai, I'm very sorry for your loss.
thank you.
Ms. Cortez, anything further?
No, Your Honor, I have nothing further.
Have a great day.
Thank you, you as well.
We're going to go back to that other case.
Okay.
The Nasser.
Okay, Your Honor, I think we're all here. Mr. Carney, can you unmute and turn on your video? There we go.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Carney, can you unmute, please?
Mr. Carney, can you hear me?
All right.
There we go. There we go. And you are in a stopped, safe position. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm in a parking lot and I completely apologize. I had a busy weekend and I forgot about this.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I met with them all by Zoom on Friday. I thought we had all the technical glitches worked out and the schedule clarified, but anyway, we're ready to go.
You're fine. You're fine. All right. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040990, the state of Nasser. It's Fatui.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand. Mr. Carney, if you'd raise your right hand.
Carney, can you put your right hand in front of the screen, please? Oh,
Somebody
no.
called in on me and hold on a minute. I don't know. All right. Can you see me now?
All right.
There you go.
There we go. Each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony provided here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes, sir.
I do.
I
Very
do.
good.
May I
Okay.
proceed?
Yes, you may, Ms. Snow.
Ms. Fatui, please state your name for the court.
Nejma Sadia Fatui?
And are you the daughter of the decedent Nasser Fatui?
Yes, I am.
Did he die on November 2, 2023 in Sugar Land, Fort Bend County, Texas at the age of 66?
That's correct.
And at the time of his death, was he a resident of Fort Bend County, Texas?
Yes, he was.
And is the original will on file with the court dated August 26, 1991, the last will and testament of your father?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And to your knowledge, was the will ever revoked?
No,
And no child or children were born to or adopted by your father after the making of the will, is that correct?
that's correct. I'm the only child.
And, okay, there, can you identify his signature on that will?
That is his signature.
That is his last will and testament to your knowledge.
Yes.
And are you the sole surviving distributee of your father's estate?
Yes, I am.
Did your mother and the decedent's wife, Ruth Marie Fatui, die before the decedent on November 28th of 2016?
That is correct.
And are you asking that you be appointed to serve as independent administrator with will annexed and to serve without bond?
Yes, I am.
And do you know of any reason why you would be disqualified from accepting letters of independent administration?
No, there's no reason.
And neither Texas nor any governmental agency of Texas nor any charitable organization is named in the will as a beneficiary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Your next witness.
I'll call Robert Saucedo.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Saucedo, would you please state your name for the court?
Robert Saucedo.
And were you personally acquainted with the decedent Nasser Fatui?
Yes, I am. And yes, I was.
Since when did you know him?
I've known Nasser Fatui since 1985. We worked together at Control Flow as international salesman.
Okay, and were you well acquainted with his handwriting and signature?
Yes, ma'am. I witnessed him signing many documents, primarily quotes, to clients overseas.
Okay. Your Honor, would you mind putting the will back up on the screen?
Not at all. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Mr. Saucedo, can you identify the signature on that document as that of Nasser Fatui?
Yes, ma'am. That is Nasser Fatui's signature on that document.
And was he over the age of 18 and of sound mind on August 26, 1991?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Your next witness.
I would call Edward Carney.
Present.
Mr. Carney, would you please state your name for the court?
I'm Edward J. Carney.
And were you personally acquainted with Nasser Fatui?
Yes, I was.
Since when did you know him?
I'm guessing 1987, 1988.
Okay, and were you well acquainted with his handwriting and signature?
I was. We made several trips together to the Middle East. And yes, I remember teasing him about his signature once.
Okay. Can you identify the signature on the document on the screen as that of Nasser Fatui?
Yes, I can.
And on August 26, 1991, was he at least 18 years of age and of sound mind?
Yes, he was.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor. This is a non-taxable estate. We would request that appraisers be waived.
All right, after listening to the testimony of Najma Fatui, Robert Saucedo, and Edward Carney, the court finds the decedent died testate and is certain individuals are unwilling to serve and necessity exists for administration. The court's going to grant the request of the applicant to appoint Ms. Fatui as independent administrator of the estate. I want to start by saying I'm sorry for everybody's loss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for the witnesses for coming on today so we could bring this to a close and bring some closure to the family. So thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Snow, anything further for the record?
I don't believe so. Thank you very much, Your Honor. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulty.
Not a problem. You're not the first one today to have technical difficulties. So
All right.
y'all have a good day.
You too, Your
Take
Honor.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're finished.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I apologize for being late and being improperly dressed.
You're fine. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye. Shut this off.
Atwood. Mr. Atwood. Mr. Atwood, I'm going to wait for I'm going to wait for about a minute more, then I'm going to move on to the next case. Mr. Atwood, are you there? Mr. Atwood, you're muted. I cannot hear you.
Your Honor, can you hear us now?
I can hear you, yes.
I apologize. We're having to be on the phone. The computer will not let us speak or see.
Okay. Not
I
a
have
problem.
I have my client with me.
We will work with it. Hold on 1 second. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040916, state of Ronald L. Kirkland. All those who intend to testify, if you raise your right hand. Obviously, I can't see anyone. If you just let me know that your hand is raised.
It is, Your Honor.
I do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right, Mr. Atwood, you may proceed with your proof up.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you state your name for the court, please?
Wesley Allen Kirkland.
And what was your relationship to Ronald Kirkland?
He was my father.
And is it true that he died on November 3rd of 2020?
Yes.
And did he have a domicile at the time of his death in Fort Bend County, Texas?
Yes,
and 4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death. Is that correct?
correct.
At the time of his death, did he own real estate in the state of Texas?
Yes,
And that was in 707 Fort Bend Drive in Symington, Fort Bend County, Texas. Is that correct?
yes,
And is it true that he did not apply for or receive Medicaid benefits prior to March 1st of 2005?
No.
Is it true that he did not?
Mm.
Did he receive it?
no,
Okay. He left a valid will dated October 27th of 2005. That was never revoked?
yes,
And I was showing you on the screen that is that the will that he had?
yes,
And that will was self-proven in the manner described by law. Is that correct?
yes,
And the subscribing witnesses were Samantha Atwood and Dana Sanders. Is that correct?
yes,
And that will named your mother, Gwendolyn Kirkland, as the independent executrix. Is that correct?
yes,
Except she passed away on March 30th of this year. Is that correct?
yes,
And the will named you as the first alternate independent executor. Is that correct?
yes,
And no children were born or adopted by your dad after the date of the will. Is that correct?
correct,
And no marriage of your dad was ever dissolved after the will was made. Is that correct?
correct,
And neither the state, a government agency, the state, or a charitable organization was named by the will as a advisee. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And you've investigated the affairs of your dad to the best of your knowledge. There are no unpaid debts. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, we would ask that this be entered as a minimum of title.
All right. Court heard the
No bond or
testimony.
appraisers.
I'm sorry.
I said with no bond or appraisers. I'm sorry.
Court heard the testimony of Wesley Allen Kirkland. He testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will and probate as a muniment of title. I'm not going to waive the affidavit of fulfillment terms in this case.
No.
All right, Mr. Atwood, thank you so much.
I'm sorry. Thank you, and apologize for the delay.
No, it's okay. Glad we could get it done today.
Yes, sir. I am too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, we're just waiting on Diane Hunter to fully connect.
Your Honor, I'm gonna have my paralegal try to reach out to her to see what I see she's trying, but I don't know
Thank you.
what the delay is. I apologize. I'm gonna mute myself really quick.
Sure.
Miss Jones, is there a way you can try to reach out to her to see?
I'm going to put y'all back in the waiting room just for a few moments. I've got one more case I've got to handle today, and I'll come right back to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize.
Not a problem. Okay. The only other case we have left for today is Winkler. You got the note that Rogers passed?
No, I didn't.
Yes, Rogers passed.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey,
Hello. How are y'all today?
Good. How are you?
good to you?
Very
Good.
good. Thank y'all for asking. Let's jump on the record real quick. I'm just going to go through a few things and then we'll go from there. And I'll answer any questions you may have. We're on the record in 24 CPR 040543, guardianship of Samuel Heathcote Winkler. First off, I want to start by saying welcome to Fort Bend County, County Court of Law number 1. This is a transfer in case. One thing that I noticed on the transfer in, we are going to be, it's the bond essentially, and we're going to be changing the bond. I have a new order in my queue here. Let me pull it up. Everything wants to move so slow today. Okay. All right, so I've got the new order. I'm going to set bond at $50 in this case. All right.
Okay.
That can be paid to the county clerk's office. You can just put a one-time $50 into the registry of the court.
Okay.
One thing that you'll have to keep in mind, I'm sure you had to do this in Travis County, is you have to fill out an annual report that you submit to the court. You can find that report on my website, County Court of Law number 1. I have a copy there for you. I would not save it because it typically updates from year to year. So if you use the previous year's report, it may not be good and it may get rejected. So make sure you go to the website each year just to verify you have the accurate form. Fill that form out, submit it. There'll be a lady by the name of Morgan who will be reviewing those forms and will get with you with any questions she may have or concerns on the form or anything that you may have missed in filling it out as well.
Your Honor, we did e-file one on 7/17/2024, the original one, so that your team would have a copy of that.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I missed part of that.
We did send a report over for this year already. It was sent on 7/17/2024.
Okay. We may have not gotten it yet from the county clerk's office, so I will make Morgan aware that one has been filed. Typically, with the filings with the county clerk's office here in Fort Bend County, it takes about 4 days to a week before I actually see anything. So, or business days, I should say.
Okay. So the guardian doesn't need to submit another one unless you let us know. Is that for this year?
Morgan will get with y'all and let you know if there's any issues or concerns. So,
and
of course, Ms. Winkler, I also let you know that you can always talk to your attorney too and ask any questions you have, and she can help guide you along the way. So, I'm sorry.
We do have a cash bond. We do have a cash bond that we prepared for the $50. So I am being told though that Ms. Winkler will have to take that document over to the courthouse to get that to be signed. Is that the right procedure?
Correct. Yeah.
And when she's there, you'll sign it as well, Your Honor?
I'll get it. It'll be sent to me to be signed. Yes.
Okay. And then how will we be able to obtain the letters?
They'll be processed through the county clerk's office and you should be able to they'll either be mailed to you or you can, while you're there, potentially get them.
Okay, because I live right here in Veranda, like you're right around the corner from me.
Okay, yeah, you're right down the road. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very convenient for you then.
It is very convenient.
Okay, well, other than having to go through security, that's the one inconvenience.
The what? I'm sorry?
Having to go through security, that's the one.
Oh, that's nothing. That's normal, right?
So, and that's when you go there, if you're not able to get the letters of guardianship that day because the judge isn't able to sign the cash bond, then my office can work with their office to get the letters to you.
All right, thank you.
We'll make sure you get them.
It'll work.
It'll work.
That's right.
Yeah, because mom is looking forward to it because she always wanted to do what's right in this family, but she was in this town since then when she was born.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
And
she's
if
always going to
she,
do the right thing, right?
yes, and if she wants to do what's right, and you guys need to do what's right in this world, like what you two did, that's really inspiring me right now.
It's okay. Can you let him finish?
Yeah, good. You can finish now.
That's okay. You can interrupt anytime you like. Not a problem.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for me outside of what's been asked so far? Ms. Nickerson? Ms. Winkler?
No, sir.
Okay.
I have a
Do
question.
not.
Go ahead, Ms. Nickerson.
Sam, can you
Yes.
can you tell the judge how happy you are to get to see him today?
Oh, yes, I'm doing good today. And I'm doing pretty good every day. But not every day, but not drive my mom crazy all the time.
That's
But
kind of your job,
sometimes,
right?
yeah, and
Crazy.
I tell her attention like, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, all the time before, a long time ago, before the man she loves lost years ago with my dad, John. But it was a long story. But I don't want to talk about it anymore because it would upset her.
Okay.
And I don't want her feelings to break her heart. And I don't want to do that to her.
Well, Sam, thank you for that information. We're not going to go into that today, okay?
No, we're not, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, thank y'all. I'll if you have any concerns, contact the court. You'll speak with either Morgan or Annie directly. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor, for your time this morning.
Yes,
y'all.
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Man, that was good.
Yeah, that was good, Sam.
All right, let's try this other case one more time. Ms. Hunter, would you turn your video on, please? Okay. I believe we are all connected. Let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 22 CPR 03. Ma'am, can you hear Ms. Hunter? Can you hear me? I cannot hear you because you're muted. I see you trying to say something.
Yes, I need to run. I left my paperwork in the house because there's no connection there. Can I run and go get my paperwork?
Okay, we'll wait.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay,
I appreciate your patience.
not a problem.
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay. All right, let's try that again. We're on the record. 22 CPR 038401, estate of Elise Lee Oglesby. All those who intend to testify, if you would raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, very good. Ms. Brooker, why don't you get us started with the airship? And after we've completed the airship, we'll move into the administration.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will go ahead and start since we have her here with Ms. Hunter.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning,
Good
Ms. Hunter.
morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Will you state your full name for the court?
Diane Renee Hunter,
And where do you reside, Ms. Hunter?
3222 Walhalla, WALHALLA Drive, Houston, Texas, 77066.
And were you well acquainted with the decedent, Elsie Oglesby, during her life?
Yes,
And how did you know her?
through her daughter, Evelyn Jones.
And to the best of your knowledge, did Miss Oglesby pass away on February 18th of 2021 at the age of 84?
Yes,
And was she a resident of Fort Bend County at the time of her passing?
yes,
And did you know Miss Oglesby to have a will?
no,
She ever have any conversations with you about preparing a will?
no,
And to the best of your knowledge, she did not have one. Is that an accurate statement?
that's correct.
And was Miss Oglesby's husband Isaiah Washington?
Yes,
And did he predecease her?
yes,
And did she ever remarry?
no,
Was she dating anyone at the time of her passing?
no,
Since the time of her passing, has anyone come forward claiming to be a common law spouse?
no,
And did Miss Oglesby have children?
yes.
How many children did she have?
She had 5.
And are those 5 children all biological children?
Yes,
And those children would be the applicant Evelyn Jones, as well as Charles Oglesby, Lawrence Oglesby, Wanda Washington, and Ruth Ann Frink. Is that correct?
yes,
And did Lawrence Oglesby pass away on March 31st of 2022 after Miss Oglesby passed away?
yes,
And did he have any surviving descendants or children born to or adopted by him?
no,
And did Ruth Ann, her daughter, did she also pass away?
yes,
But she passed away prior to the decedent, Miss Oglesby. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And she had one surviving child, Joe Frink Jr. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did Miss Oglesby take anyone else into her home to raise as if they were her own?
No,
No adopted children. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Do you have a financial interest in this estate?
No, ma'am.
Does the estate owe you any money?
No, ma'am.
Do you owe the estate any money?
No.
And are you being...
ma'am, I'm sorry, ma'am. Could you repeat that? My connection got a little.
Sure.
Can you?
I'll just, I don't know if I'm repeating the same question, but it'll be close. Do you owe the estate any money?
No.
Are you being compensated for your testimony today? And have you ever been
No.
adjudicated as an incapacitated person?
No.
All right, I'll pass this witness.
Eagle Hawk.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hunter, you and I spoke, it's been some time, but we talked about the heirs of Miss Oglesby. You recall that conversation?
Not really.
Yeah, it's been a while. But let's talk about on your stuff here. Now, as far as with Miss Oglesby, how long had you known her?
About 43 years.
43
I'm sorry,
years?
Judge. I think my connection is being poor. Mr. Engelhoff, could you repeat that question? Because I did not hear it.
All right. How long did you know Miss Oglesby?
40+ years.
Okay. And you had the type of relationship with her that you would know her children, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And other than the 5 that were listed, if she had another child, would you know about that?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as with Ruth Frink, you knew her well?
Yes.
Okay. And she just had one child, correct?
That's correct.
Would you know if she had other children?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so as we stand here today, she has the 4 children and 2 of them have passed away, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Brooker, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will call Janice Jenkins. Will you unmute yourself, Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Jenkins, if you're on the phone, you kind of have to tap your finger at the very top of the phone to get the panel at the bottom. And then you can hit the unmute button. Well, Your Honor, while she's figuring out how to unmute, can I call Evelyn Jones instead?
That'll be fun.
Thank you. Ms. Jenkins, you keep working on that unmute. All right. Hi, Ms. Jones. Will you unmute yourself? All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Will you state your full name for the court?
Evelyn Jones,
And where do you reside, Ms. Jones?
5007 Raven Ridge Drive, Houston, Texas,
And are,
77053.
and are you the applicant who's filed the application for determination of heirship and for administration?
Yes.
And were you well acquainted with the decedent, Elsie Oglesby, during her lifetime?
Yes.
How'd you know her?
She was my mother.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And you're aware she passed away on February 18th of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was she a resident of Fort County at the time of her passing?
Yes.
And she was 84 years old when she passed. Is that right?
Yes.
And did your mother have a will?
No.
Since her passing, has anything come forward resembling a will?
No.
And you've looked through her possessions and haven't located anything that could be considered a will. Is that correct?
Correct.
And your mother was married to Isaiah Washington, but that marriage ended when he passed away. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did she ever remarry?
No.
Ever dated anybody after his passing?
No.
Since his passing, has anyone come forward claiming to be a common-law spouse of your mother?
No.
And other than you, did your mom have children? Any
Yes.
other? And would that be a total of 5 children that your mother had?
Yes.
So you, your brother Charles Oglesby, Lawrence Oglesby, Wanda Washington, and Ruth Ann Frink. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did your mom have any other child that she brought into her home to raise as if they were her own?
No.
No adopted children, is that
No.
correct?
No.
And your brother Lawrence, he died on March 31st of 2022 after your, is that correct?
Correct.
But he didn't have any surviving descendants or children, is that correct?
Correct.
And your sister Ruth Ann, she predeceased your mother, is that correct?
Yes.
What year did she pass away?
2015.
And your sister Ruth Ann had one child, is that right?
Yes.
And that's Joe Frink Jr.?
Yes.
And you believe the heirs of your mother's estate would be you and your surviving siblings, and for your sister Ruth Ann for her son Joe Frink to receive
Yes.
her. All right, I'll pass this witness.
Ringo Hop.
Yeah, I've just got one quick question, just to make sure we're all on the same page. The only child of your sister Ruth Ann Frink is Joe Frink Jr., correct?
Correct.
She never adopted anyone else, took anybody else into her home. It's just him.
Just him.
All right, no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
And
Let's Jenkins one more time.
Right. Miss Jenkins, can you hear me? Just nod if you can. Okay, I didn't get a nod.
Let me see. You see a mute button up there? Yeah, you have to bring it up. You'll see like a little thing with a line going through it. Just click on that. Yeah, click on the whole thing. It's a line going through it and it says mute or unmute. You see it? It should be at the top. Okay. All right. She should be on now. Okay.
Hi, you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can. It's so good to hear your voice. I
I'm
have got
sorry.
a question. Can you state your full name for the
Okay. Janice Y. Jenkins
all right, and where do you reside, Miss Jenkins?
in Houston, 10215 White Brook Drive, Houston, Texas, 77038.
And were you well acquainted with the decedent, Elsie Oglesby, during her lifetime?
Yes,
How did you know her?
I used to date her son.
So approximately how long did you know her?
About 39 years, 40.
So you knew her for a while. Would you knew her pretty well
Yes,
and familiar with her family and marital history?
yes,
Did you know Miss Oglesby to have a will?
no,
Did she ever talk to you about preparing a will?
no,
And you know that she passed away on February 18th of 2021 at the age of 84?
yes,
And it's your understanding and belief that when she passed away, she did not have a will. Is that correct?
yes, that's correct.
Now, when she passed away, was she married?
No,
Her husband, Isaiah Washington, did he predecease her?
yes,
And was she dating anyone when she passed away?
No,
Anyone that could come forward claiming to be a common law spouse of Miss Oglesby?
no,
And did Miss Oglesby have 5 children born to her?
yes,
And those 5 children would be the applicant Evelyn Jones, as well as Charles Oglesby, Lawrence Oglesby, Wanda Washington, and Ruth Ann Frank. Is that correct?
yes,
Did she have any children that were adopted?
no,
Did she bring any child into her home to raise as if that child was her own?
no,
And Miss Oglesby's son, Lawrence, did he pass away after Miss Oglesby in 2020?
yes,
And did he have any surviving children or descendants?
no,
And did Miss Oglesby's daughter, Ruth Ann, did she predecease Miss Oglesby?
yes,
And she had one surviving child, Joe Frink Jr. Is that correct?
yes,
And do you have a financial interest in Miss Oglesby's estate?
no,
Does the estate owe you any money?
no,
Do you owe the estate any money?
no,
Are you being compensated for your testimony today?
no,
And have you ever been deemed an incapacitated person by a court?
no.
All right, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Engelhop.
Thank you. Yeah, Ms. Jenkins, you and I spoke, it's been some time ago. We talked about the heirs of Miss Oglesby. You recall us talking?
I think it's been like a year ago, huh?
I think so, yeah. And as we sit today, she had 5 children and only 5 children.
Yes,
And you had the kind of relationship with her that if she had other children, you would have known about them.
yes,
Okay. And on Ruth Frink, you knew her?
yes,
And she only had 1 child, correct?
yes,
And that's Joe Frink Jr.
yes,
And you would know if she had other children, correct?
yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further for the heirship, Ms. Brooker?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, after listening to testimony of Diane Hunter, Janice Jenkins, and Evelyn Jones, the court finds this by clearing convincing evidence, decedent's heirs are those listed in the judgment declaring heirship. I'm going to discharge Mr. Engelhop from his duties as attorney ad litem. Order him a fee in the amount of Mr. Engelhop. What is your fee in this case?
I think my order says $525, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll award you a fee in the amount of $525. You're free to go, Mr. Engelhop. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Brooker, any further questions for the administration?
For the administration, yes, at this time, I'd like to call Ms. Jones.
Proceed.
Yes.
Hi, Ms. Jones. Is it your belief that there is a necessity to administer your mother's estate?
Yes,
And you're asking this court to appoint you as the independent administrator of your mother's estate, is that correct?
yes,
And all of the heirs that we previously identified have filed consents to independent administration and also asked that you be appointed as the administrator, is that correct?
yes,
And are you willing and able to serve as the independent administrator of your mother's estate?
yes,
And do you believe you're qualified to serve?
yes,
You testified you're a resident of Houston, correct?
yes,
Have you ever been adjudicated as an incapacitated person?
no,
Are you a convicted felon?
no,
Ever been convicted of a crime of moral turpitude or fraud?
no.
All right, I'll pass, Your Honor.
Yes, for the testimony of Evelyn Jones, the court finds the decedent died intestate and there's a necessity for administration. The court will grant the request the applicant appoint Ms. Jones as independent administrator of the estate. I'm very sorry for y'all's loss.
Thank you.
I'm glad we could get this done today. Regardless of all the technical issues we had.
Amen.
All right.
Thank
you. Have a great day.
All right. Bye.
Take care.
Are we free to go?
You are free to go.
All right.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You get my purse out the house? You get my purse out the house?
Hello?
We're done, Judge, right?
All right, we are done.